back to the podcast series, everyone. We appreciate everyone for tuning in, and as you know, we're doing a new segmented session where we're introducing and showing more color for all of our networks and allowing you guys to meet some of the employees and the executives in these various networks that are helping us build something big and powerful here. With us today, once again, joining us is Sam Culver. We also have a couple new employees, Allison Tatinall and Brianna Alexander, and with us as always, our CEO and our fearless leader, Ken Tapp.
Hi, how's everyone doing today?
Good.
Yeah.
Excited to talk about some networks.
I know.
Right.
Thanks for joining us. And it's been a really fun week because we've had all of these offline conversations and now we get to kind of bring those online and I think drive home a really important point that has been a theme this week, which is how the networks are used by your generation. Mm-hmm. And that's the important thing here, right? Because we know that Facebook was a platform really launched in colleges, and then they allowed in high schools, and then they allowed the rest of us in it. And LinkedIn was that early platform for a real niche of people, which were the HR directors and that sort. And those of you like Todd and I who were here when Twitter launched, that was mostly for the young journalists, the ones that had to go over to Iraq and report on the war over there. Mm-hmm. We're using this as a platform to get information back out. So all of the TikTok, and I can go on and on, all of these networks are really early adopted by your generation. Mm-hmm. And so what we wanted to do this week, if you haven't picked up on it from our previous few segments, is really explain how the networks are used by your generation. And so, we were talking about golf the other day because we were out hitting the ball around, which Todd is much better at than I am. but that's the fun part of the game, right?
Totally.
Sam, is that, it's a game where you can play your whole life. You were saying that you've had a golf club in your hand since you remember what golf clubs even were.
Yeah.
And it's interesting to get your perspective on how younger people are looking at professionals in the sport and how they're motivated by that and getting into the sport.
Totally. Yeah, like you said, I've had a golf club in my hand ever since I was 2, so I've been playing golf for a while now. And as I've grown up playing golf, I've kind of realized that the whole stigma of golf has kind of changed from this place where you used to go on the course and close business deals and do all of that to our younger generation actually wanting to get better at golf, hit the ball far. We're seeing 14-year-olds being able to drive the ball 300 yards. That was never happening back when Tiger was growing up. And I think, now we're seeing more and more kids grow up and want to play like Bryson DeChambeau or Brooks Koepka, these guys that are, putting out faces for that golf community. And I think having a place like GolfLink is super important because I know I can just go on there. If I'm slicing the ball on my drive, I can just go on GolfLink, look up tutorials, or even post a video of myself and ask that community specifically what's going on with my swing, what could I do to fix it, and I know that I have solid groups of pros that are going to
or
give
even
me
to connect with the right
Exactly.
golf pro at a local course,
Exactly.
to be able to get the kind of assistance that you need, right?
Yeah,
it's really cool.
No doubt. So you and I were talking about pickleball the other day, Todd, mm-hmm. and I'm just getting into it. You got into it before I did, so you sort of pulled me into the sport. And Brianna and I were talking about it the other day, and I didn't realize that her generation is really getting into pickleball because when we are going to the courts, we're especially here in Phoenix, but we're seeing people
everywhere.
Who are mostly retirees. But more and more people who are younger are really starting to get into the sport.
No, yeah, for sure. And, thank you guys for having me on the show. I'm Brianna Alexander, and you guys will hear my voice and see my face a lot more on Social Life Network shows and podcasts. I recently just found out and got into playing pickleball with some of my friends and family. And, if you know me, I can be really competitive when put in certain situations. And pickleball was something I never thought I would enjoy. But once I started playing more, I began to love it. And I realized I'm not the only one. The pickleball community is so amazing and passionate about this sport. Mm-hmm. And they love sharing their accomplishments and giving tips. Starting out, I could never win a match. Never. And and one thing that's been able to help me is being able to tune in with social media, and it's been nice to know that if I want tips on how to perfect my skills or beat my boyfriend, I can just pull out my phone or computer.
Yeah, I totally agree with that, Brianna, because myself, I also just only discovered pickleball during the pandemic of COVID-19, and now I'm realizing that it is the fastest growing sport in America, with youth generation piling into this all the time, and the older generation really being able to compete and interact in a sport that's really for everyone.
Yeah.
All ages, all genders. And what I've found is that those that have started playing pickleball, the enthusiasts of the sport, they are passionate about pickleball and competitive, as you said. And they're looking for new individuals and groups to be able to connect with and play and show their passion and continue to grow the sport.
And yeah, and I mean, I'm sure for you guys to learn how to play certain sports and, get better at them, you need that in-person experience, and you need to go up and meet with someone. And don't get me wrong, that's still valued, but, it's also important to take advantage of all the technological advances that are provided nowadays. I mean, there's no in-person coach or, person that knows everything. The internet and social media allows us all to network together and share our knowledge and experience about these sports.
Very true.
Generation Z, as you said, they're doing it right now, and it's not going away anytime soon. And that's why I believe it's so important to make platforms like Footpost and RacketStar to give everyone who has an interest in different sports a place to connect.
Yeah, Allison, you are an athlete. We'll say that you were a professional athlete who's now decided to maybe temporarily, maybe permanently, but to hang up your cleats, if you will, and really start focusing more on what we're talking about here, which is making certain that the content and the message and the online tutorials and all of this is available to your generation and others to be able to access that and get better at whether we're talking about soccer or tennis or pickleball or golf and so on and so forth.
Right, of course. And let me introduce myself a little bit before I get into more about Footpost and soccer. I'm Allison Tatnall, and I've been playing soccer competitively at a high level on and off for years, and I ultimately chose to play softball at Arizona State, but my passion for soccer still lives on, and I'm honestly excited to motivate my passion with our social network Footpost. And Footpost is that beautiful social network, and I love it because it's international. It's for soccer, and soccer is one of those international sports that reaches everyone. And the thing about soccer is that it's that sport that you just pick up a ball and get going. Like, you don't need much to get going, and it's a team sport as well. It brings the team together. And the best part about that is, since it is a team sport, it's better to learn with others. Therefore, the social network is perfect for soccer players to connect with other professional athletes and learn from them as well.
Yeah, I think that that's a really good point, Allison, and I think that you're touching on something that's really powerful that we think that our networks can help with. And that's giving some of these individuals a platform, a presence, a voice all over the world that never used to previously have that, right? And Sam, I think that you had mentioned this as well, that, in certain countries, they're literally born with a soccer ball in the crib.
Exactly.
They're kicking it their whole entire life from a young age. But that individual maybe never had the ability to get discovered. Mm-hmm. He never had the ability to get noticed or get the proper training or to connect to the right resources that might get them to the right club to be able to elevate themselves. And there was just no place to really bond and interact with enthusiasts and get exposure in that way. And that's something that we've always wanted to do with all of our networks.
Yeah, and I actually personally have a brother who's really into soccer, and he's actually went to Germany to play. He's only in high school. And, he learned how to get as good as he is by using these social networks, by going online and, spending hours on hours, sometimes just watching these videos and learning.
That's the thing, that passion is what drives athletes. That passion for that sport gets us back up and keeps us going. And our networks allow us to grow them and their sport together.
Yeah, really cool. Okay, well, thank you everyone for joining us this afternoon. And next week we're going to go into some detail on one of Todd's very favorite categories. We're going to leave it right there. Have a great weekend, and we'll talk to you soon.
Thanks, everyone.